Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is April the 16th. It is a Thursday today. As you can see, overall markets really solid rally towards the upside. Qs now hitting all-time highs. We had SPY hitting all-time highs yesterday in the morning. Qs end up gravitating up and towards that 637. So Qs at all-time highs. Most of the major indices pushing up nicely here. Hopefully, you guys are capturing some of these nice moves. Hopefully, you guys aren't short in the markets. We kind of been talking about, right? Higher time frames bullish, right? We have key targets towards the upside, and there is some levels higher. Um, we'll go on to some of the names here in a second. We do have a couple things to kind of talk about this morning as well. We have Netflix earnings tonight, which is going to be key. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, B Roots. Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Cody. Good morning, Marcus, P1. Good morning, Knight, Wisdom, Deuce, Lamit, Gerald. What's up, everyone? Michael, uh, I'm definitely gonna pronounce that one wrong. What's up, Chris, Detecto, Robert? What's up, Maria, John, Lido, Robert, Sam, Hector, Julius, Balvin. What's up, Mozzie, Leon? Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me pull up the economic calendar here and we'll go over all the news that we have coming to market open, which we don't have too much. We do have some unemployment to keep an eye out for, but that's about it. So, as you can see here, at least for the overnight session, right? No red folder news or no major news events in the overnight session. Of course, as you can see, the overall markets are rallying towards all-time highs. So, as I mentioned earlier, we had that war news, which is key. We had that peace deal last week, and now you can see the markets are rallying. We had some news over the weekend, and instantly bought up, and now you can see markets are leading back towards our all-time highs. So the SPY hit our all-time highs yesterday in the morning, and you can see SPY was kind of lagging behind a little bit, but that's when the Qs started leading the markets. You can see really nice opportunities towards the upside yesterday. Tesla was one of the main ones we kind of talked about, looking for some upside. Tesla had its biggest day in a while. Really solid outlier day. Was not expecting that big of a move on Tesla, but absolutely fantastic. We're all for that one in the pre-market prep above our previous day highs. At least for today, let's go over some of the news catalysts that we have. 8:30 unemployment claims, something to keep an eye out for. Usually red folder, but we'll kind of wait for 8:30 here. Not really expecting it to affect the market as much, but we'll keep an eye on that one. Forecasted is going to be 213, and then tomorrow we do have a Fed speaker that is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is what we have on the economic calendar wise. Let me go on to the earnings calendar here. Let me pull this up. Okay, as you can see here, this is the earnings calendar that we have. Big banks reporting, as I mentioned earlier, into the week. We even had CarMax, Bank of America. We have a couple more this morning. Charles Schwab, TSM, which is actually pretty key. So we can keep an eye on that one. Charles Schwab, which was this morning. Tonight, we do have Netflix. So this is the first major tech name that we do have coming up. We'll kind of talk about the earnings next week and the week after. So it is earnings season. Tesla is reporting next week. The week after, we have a big tech reporting as well. So we'll talk about Netflix. We'll see how this affects the market. But overall markets are back at all-time highs. And most names, a couple names are kind of beaten down here. But we'll kind of talk about this in a second. All right, let me go on to the charts and we will get started. All right, let's first talk about the SPY and then we'll talk about the Qs here. So as I mentioned, if you guys are watching the weekly outlook, along with what I mentioned here last week, also this week as well on Monday, we talked about right that push up and towards our all-time high. So hopefully you guys weren't caught too off guard. I know based off the sentiment, right? I didn't realize how many people were, I wouldn't say bearish, right? Of course, we have some negative news catalysts in the markets with the war going on, but whenever you go on Twitter, you can kind of see the sentiment of the markets and It seems like a lot of people kind of caught off guard on this move, especially after this gap up, right? This gap up, once we had that peace deal, I think most of the people should have been a little bit more neutral in the markets after this big gap that we had last Tuesday, right? That Tuesday with that peace deal, whenever we gapped 2% back inside this range, that was a key sign that the markets was eventually potentially going to reverse back up and towards our all-time highs and basically holding key levels, end up closing back inside this range last week. And then as long as we maintained above really that 672, next level, of course, was going to be that all-time highs. But as you can see here, really solid. This not the week's not even over yet, but as you can see, strong weekly candle close so far, pushing up in towards the brand new all-time highs that we've made on the major indices. So super strong weekly candle close back up in towards our all-time highs, and now you can see really making a brand new high here on the SPY. Q's making a brand new high here as well. So a lot of people are kind of caught off guard. Nice push towards the upside on SPY. Now the level that we're going to have moving forward is of course going to be just that previous all-time high. So as you can see here, if we go back onto the daily time frame, we talked about the previous level of support. This was a consolidation period that we had. Once we gapped up and we ended up holding this 675, the next level was going to be that all-time highs that we had, and pretty strong push here on the SPY. Ended up hitting it yesterday. A little bit of a reaction in the morning, which we are expecting, but ultimately reclaimed back above key levels. And then the Qs was the next one to, of course, hit our all-time highs. So moving forward here on the SPY chart, at least for a higher time frame perspective on the daily, as long as you can maintain above this 675, we're going to be maintaining a bullish stance in the market, right? We had this gap up. We're going to maintain a bullish stance as long as we're above that 675. Now for the overall markets, you can see very much well, clearly in an uptrend. We broke above our key pivot high with this gap up. Now for the SPY, we could come back down towards that 675 and still be very bullish for continuation. Of course, the markets could even come all the way back down in towards that 675. We don't want that to happen in this case, since now we're making a brand new all-time highs. But now for the SPY, what we just like to see is the hold above our 695 for continuation. If the markets just want to continue higher, that is great as well. But we can just be looking for longs, even if it makes a higher low based off this 675. We're going to be looking for continuation higher and just all major dips on the SPY for a pushback towards the upside. As for the key levels marked out coming into today, now for the SPY, as you can see here, we are at all-time highs. So there's really no levels to base it off of, right? If we look left, there's the previous all-time highs level, but now we are at all-time highs on the SPY. So the key levels that we can have marked out is just going to be that previous day highs, right? Very similar to the past few sessions. Above our previous day highs, we're going to maintain a bullish stance. Yesterday, previous day highs was key, 694. As you can see right here, break above our 694, hold above our 694, and then you can see a nice continuation here on the SPY towards the upside. So similar game plan coming into market open. Previous day highs we want to have marked out, base above our previous day highs, continuation towards the upside here is in play back towards our pre-market highs and above. Another possible scenario is going to be the break above our pre-market highs, 702, continuation towards the upside here as well. So as long as you can maintain above key levels, we are going to be leaning more towards the upside. At least now, right, we're at all-time highs. Q's hit all-time highs, so all my main objectives have been hit, especially on the major indices. We'll kind of talk about that here in a second. Shorts, as I talked about, not really interested, kind of off the table. If we break underneath our previous day highs, we could see a little bit of a mean reversion after having 3 days in a row with a solid push towards the upside. We are expecting the markets to eventually going to consolidate or have a very minor pullback, but shorts, in my opinion, are a little bit more difficult, especially with the market being this bullish, right? You don't want to try and time a top. That's the last thing you want to do when the markets are rallying, is try and time a top, especially with it being at all-time highs, looking for a reversal setup. All right, let's go on to the ES. ES, the key levels that we have marked out now is going to be this all-time highs as well. So there's a couple levels that we can base it off of now, since the SPY has hit all-time highs. The Qs has also hit all-time highs. Now we're going to have to base it off of, right, the futures chart, which is really the only information that we have. So for the ES, right? We can just kind of mark out this all-time highs level. And this is the area that we can expect some sellers to step in off of. As you can see, really solid rally from the April lows, kind of this V-shaped recovery here without any significant major pullbacks, right? You can see every single dip that we've had on the ES has instantly got bought up, and now we're back at our all-time highs. Is it frozen? It should be good. I'm not sure if the stream cut out, but it should be good here. It seems like my frames are good as well. If you do have any issues, most likely it does have to be with YouTube. So just refresh the stream and everything should be fine. Everything's good? Okay. Yeah, Warrior, just refresh the stream and everything should be good. All right, so for the ES, as I mentioned, let's just kind of mark out our all-time highs coming to market open. In this case, the exact level that we have marked out here is going to be this 7092. Other levels that we have marked out here now as well. Yesterday, we marked out that previous day highs. Nice break and retest above our previous day highs. Another level that we can have marked out today, similar thing, previous day highs marked out. So for today here, basically the exact same thing. ES, previous day high retest for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs, continuation higher here as well. All we're doing is looking for major major pullbacks to go long in the market, right? Of course, we do not want to be looking for shorts. Shorts were very difficult, especially with the higher time frames being fairly bullish, right? We could look for any sort of mini scalps, but until then, right, especially in this market now, since we're at all-time highs, right? We just want to be looking for major longs. The only way we're going to be looking for short if there's some sort of bearish news catalyst that does want to push the market lower. But even in this case, as you can see, a good thing to note is whenever we do have any sort of bearish news catalyst, the market should, in theory, head lower. I've been talking about this for a while, right? When the markets have any sort of bearish news catalyst, right, we should head lower. But if we have news catalysts that want to drop the market, but the markets aren't dropping, that's a good sign we're going to have a reversal. And that's what we've been having in this case. So that's what we have for the ES coming to market open. Previous day highs is going to be key. Let's look for our all-time highs on the futures contracts. Now let's go on to the QQQ. So exact same thing here on the Qs that we talked about as well. Key levels that we have marked out is of course that 640 here on the higher time frames. You can see multiple touches. If we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, we talked about that last weekly candle close, which was fairly bullish. Next level is of course going to be that all-time highs that we have on the Qs. So SPY hit our all-time highs, Qs now hitting our all-time highs level here as well. So for the QQQ, let's go back onto the daily time frame. This was our key level 640 here on the higher time frames. So now moving forward, we just hit our all-time highs yesterday. Now what we like to see is really maintain above that 637, which is our previous all-time highs for this continued push towards the upside. For the Qs, even it could push underneath, break back underneath, kind of fake out and reclaim for a push back towards the upside here as well, building these higher lows. So as you can see, very much well, the higher time frames has flipped bearish here. Regardless of what the SPY and Qs does, right? Any sort of major pullback, you're going to be looking for longs. If you have that all-time highs pullback, right, you can be looking for that pullback long as well. So regardless now, right, any sort of short positions that, as I've talked about, right, are going to be a little bit more difficult because now the trend is bullish. So any shorts, just be cautious. You're just looking for quick mean reversions in the markets, right? You do want to be looking for primarily major pullbacks to look long in the markets. All right, so the key levels that we have coming to market open, this is our previous all-time highs level, which is at 637. We can kind of drag this over, which also kind of coincides with our previous day highs, which is our 637.50. So I have two levels coming to market open. They're fairly close to one another. I'm most likely just going to use that previous day highs. You can see there's another touch in the pre-market here as well. But for the Qs coming to market open, key levels that we're going to have drawn out is going to be that previous day highs. We do have your previous all-time highs here as well. So for the Qs, if it bounces or pulls back down in towards that previous day highs, longs towards the upside. If we have a little bit of a deeper retracement down in towards that previous all-time highs, we can be looking for that kind of look below and fail and that reclaim setup back towards the upside here as well. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs for continuation higher here on the QQQ. So this is what we have coming to market open. Now the better opportunities, right, with SPY and Qs being at all-time highs, the nicest opportunities are going to come on some of the tech names that are lagging behind and any other names that have been down quite a bit. So SPY and Qs at all-time highs. So of course, you're not really going to be buying all-time highs on these SPY and Qs. Doesn't make too much sense, but there's a lot of names that have been beaten down, like a Microsoft. This one was down like 30% off all-time highs. And this one is having a super nice rally just based off of, right, risk to reward ratio wise, right? SPY was previously at all-time highs. Similar thing here with Qs, and then Microsoft was down 30% from the highs, right? Any name that has been being down, Apple, right? We'll kind of talk about it, Hood, SoFi, a lot of these names that have been beaten down quite a bit are going to have some sort of potential rally. Even Tesla, we kind of talked about yesterday. This one has been beaten down quite a bit, showing some relative strength coming to this week and had one of its biggest days yesterday. So moving forward now, right, if you're trading the SPY and Qs, right, just keep an eye out on the key levels, right, 638, with it being at all-time highs. Now we're going to be looking for a bunch of other names to start rallying here as well. But that's what we have on the SPY chart. If we go on to the ES, if we go on, that was the QQQ chart. If we go into the NQ, the key levels that we have marked out on the NQ, as you can see here, nice kind of rally back towards the upside as well. We're going to be looking for that all-time highs on the NQ. As for the key levels coming into today, what we do have marked out is going to be that previous day highs, which we can have marked out here. So yesterday, nice previous day high retest for continuation. Now today, the key levels that we can have marked out, similar thing, previous day highs, drag it over. So key level is our 26,360. As long as you can maintain above our previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. Another scenario is going to be above our pre-market highs. If we do want to dig a little bit deeper down in towards either that previous all-time highs on the QQQ, kind of look below, come all the way back down in towards that 15-minute order block. This is still in play for a pushback towards the upside here as well. So that's what we have on the ES and NQ. Very similar game plan to the past couple of sessions. Above our previous day highs, maintain a bullish stance in the market. Now let's go on to the SMH. So the SMH here showing not as much strength coming into this week, but this one, of course, had such a big move already last week. This one's already at all-time highs. You can see the weekly candle close here as well. Very bullish on the SMH. Now what we're going to be looking for, as I mentioned, as long as you can maintain above that previous all-time highs, continuation towards the upside here. So the key levels that we have marked out, let's go back onto the lower time frames. What I have marked out coming into this week is, of course, going to be their Tuesday's lows, which happens to be our Monday's high here as well. That's going to be the main level for SMH, and then the other key levels that we can have marked down now is going to be that previous day highs, which happens to be our all-time highs as well. So for the SMH coming into today, what we're going to have marked out previous day lows and our previous day highs. If we do want to see some upside, needs to see the break above, hold above that 452 for continuation. You can see it can come all the way back down in towards our previous day lows as well for a potential move back towards the upside if we'd like. So this is what we have for the SMH for continuation higher. You can be looking for even, right, potential kind of pop and fade down in towards our pre-market lows coming into market open. Okay, this is what we have for the major indices coming into market open here today. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers here now, you guys can drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. So now if we're on the IWM, another push up and towards our previous all-time highs, right? This was a nice move, right? Gap up, broke above our period of consolidation. Next level, of course, here is going to be that 270 on the higher time frame. So that's what we have on the IWM. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 286. That's a key level. We can even refine this one here as well, down in towards that previous day lows. And as you can see, we kind of have multiple touches here. So for the IWM, previous day highs we can have marked out along with that previous day lows if we do want to see that all-time highs push, right? Hold above our 269 for that continued push up and towards that 271. If we break underneath, right, we can see that reclaim setup back up and towards that 271 here as well. So this is what we have for the IWM coming into market open. Now let's go on to, as I mentioned, some tech names that we do have coming to market open. All right, let me grab some water here and we'll head on to some tech names. What are some best stocks to consider for long-term investment currently? Now with the VIX, right? So SPY is at all-time highs, right? So SPY and Qs is at all-time highs. So of course we had that major dip in April, and now we're already back at all-time highs. There's a couple names that do look good. I do like Microsoft, not in this area though, right? If you've been watching the pre-market preps, I've been talking about Microsoft right off the 360. In my opinion, really solid for long term. You can see already up about like 10% right off that 360 level. A lot of these names are actually already back at all-time highs, so it doesn't make too much sense. Microsoft's still in a good area, but already back at 420. If you're looking at any other name, a lot of these names are already back at all-time highs. So at least for the Mag 7 names, there's still room back up and towards our all-time highs on a couple of these ones. But most of these ones, even Tesla, I would say, was in a good spot. But after yesterday, this one already popping above 7% day. Obviously, you're not going to buy into a 7% day, but obviously some room back up and towards the upside. Best entry would have been closer to like 350, even that 360 that we had. So let's go into Tesla. We're already on this one here. Let's talk about this on the weekly time frame. Key levels that we have marked out is that period of consolidation. You can see nice buyers stepped in yesterday. So for Tesla, the key levels that we have marked out yesterday was that 370. So I talked about that flip yesterday. If you can get above that previous day highs, hold above that 360. Potential continuation towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked out is of course going to be right, kind of this downtrend forming that we finally actually broke yesterday as well. So we broke back above our 360. We did a couple of things here. Broke above our 360, and then we're also breaking above this downtrend here as well. So two things, plus the overall market's showing a lot of strength at all-time highs. Tesla was lagging quite a bit. And once we broke back above, you can see the momentum finally kicked in here. Next levels on Tesla is this general area 390. Now moving forward, this is the previous level of support that we had. Hold above our 390. We can see continuation higher here as well. So for Tesla, at least the levels that we have moving forward, let's kind of turn back on the drawings. We're well farther away from the previous levels that we had marked out. So we're going to have to go all the way back left and mark out brand new levels. But in this case, for Tesla, what I'm going to mark out today is just going to be that previous day highs. So that previous day highs is going to be key. You can see it is our 394. You can see Tesla yesterday. Look at this move right off that previous day lows. Sorry, previous day highs right off that 365. Once we got above that previous day highs and that pre-market highs, solid rally towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked out today is going to be that 394. We're going to be looking for continuation on Tesla here. Day two continuation after a breakout. I'm expecting a move towards the upside. Tesla is going to have a bigger move towards the upside today. At least it's going to have continuation, right? It is going to move higher. So for Tesla, let's keep an eye out on a potential pullback long here, back down and towards our previous day highs. Another possible scenario, of course, is going to be above our pre-market highs. 398 for continuation here as well. Another possible scenario, if it breaks underneath its previous day highs, right, kind of looks below, it could come back into this period of consolidation, and then you could be looking for the reclaim setup back up in towards our previous day highs and above. So based off yesterday's price action, right, Tesla, I wouldn't mind the previous day high retest or the look below, fail, and then reclaim setup back above the 394 for that continuation higher here as well. So that's what we have for Tesla coming into market open here. One of my favorite names, similar thing, just looking for day two continuation from yesterday. So that's what we have coming into market open here, right? It's just based off the news. So some of you guys are saying Tesla has negative news, right? Similar thing, right? Whenever the markets has bearish news catalysts, right? Tesla, higher time frame, every short was popped and we ended up gravitating lower. right? It makes sense if Tesla's dropping with bearish news catalysts. Like earlier, we had right the SpaceX IPO coming up fairly soon. You can see every pop was kind of being shorted into. The tape was fairly bearish, right? Whenever the markets have bearish news catalysts and the markets drop, that's a good sign that the markets either you're in a clear downtrend or the market sentiment's fairly bearish. And there's very essentially it is basically saying that in theory, right, if there's negative news, the market should head lower. I just explained this earlier on the SPY and Qs. If we have a bearish news catalyst and all of a sudden the markets are not heading lower, that's a sign that the markets are going to reverse. Right now, the SPY and Qs is at all-time highs. Right, Tesla's finally flipped here as well. Right, you can see how bullish the tape was on Tesla. Right, based off of yesterday's price action. As long as you can maintain above key levels, previous day highs. Right, this one is very bullish. Right, if you're looking just at yesterday's price action, you can't tell me this is bearish on Tesla, right? Just based off of yesterday's price action, Tesla had one of its biggest days in I forget how long, but very big day just based off the daily time frame. Now we can expect continuation towards the upside, right? Based off of this daily downtrend break, super big day yesterday. If we're talking about just today in specific, we're not talking about a longer term outlook. We're just talking about the next really today in general. If we can maintain above 370, 394, we're going to be looking for upside. Even if it pulls back all the way towards that 386, I'm going to maintain upside here as well. The way I'm going to be leaning more bearish on Tesla now would have to do a lot, right? It could come all the way back down to that 385 and still be bullish and make higher lows. It could come all the way back down and towards equilibrium, 380 and still be bullish, right? So for Tesla now, this one, right, if we're looking at this week's price action in specific, this is Monday's price action, Tuesdays, and I have Wednesdays, right? On the week, look how bullish we are on Tesla, right? There's no way you can be bearish on Tesla, right? We could see some sort of pullback, but realistically, right, based off of everything, as long as we maintain above key levels, there's a good chance Tesla's going to continue higher. So this is this week's price action in specific, fairly bullish for the week. Plus, if you look at this weekly candle close, right, so far, fairly bullish weekly candle close on Tesla. So coming to market open, as I mentioned, above our previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. NVIDIA, let's go into this one. Another one breaking above key levels, as you can see here. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 196. Other key levels that we have marked out is going to be the 172 here as well. So you can see multiple touches, look below, fail, reclaim, continuation back towards the upside. If we're looking at NVIDIA here, back up and towards key levels, as I mentioned, maintain above that 196 for that continuation back towards the upside here as well. So this is what we have on NVIDIA. As long as you can maintain above that 196, we are going to be looking for continuation back towards the upside. So for NVIDIA, as I mentioned, that was the previous key pivot point that we had as well. Other key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 196, along with our previous day highs that we can have marked out. So key levels is our 200, along with that 196. If we do want to see upside, bounce here off that 196 hold, continuation higher. Another possible scenario, kind of this opening range, or of course above our previous day highs, for that continued pushback towards the upside here as well. So this is what we have on NVIDIA, AMD, another one that is moving towards our all-time highs key areas, which is fairly solid. Went from essentially our range low, broke above our 220. Now the next level, of course, is going to be that 270. So AMD is going to gravitate up and towards that 270, which is our all-time high. So key levels that we have marked out coming into today is going to be that previous day highs. Other levels that we have marked out here now as well. Let's actually mark out that previous day highs. And then we have our Tuesday's highs marked out. And then you could even mark out other key levels, previous day lows if you'd like. So there's a lot of levels to kind of mark out here on AMD. But the main one coming to today, previous day highs, retest 257, hold for continuation. If it comes back down in towards that 255, you could be looking for the continuation off that level here as well. So this is what we have for AMD. We'll quickly go over a couple other names here. Apple showing some strength now above our 262. So this one broke above our flat top. Nice continuation above that. Nice kind of break and retest above that 262. Nice continuation. Key levels that we have marked out as well is going to be that previous day highs here and now. Apple retest 266, continuation towards the upside. If you go into the daily chart, another one breaking above key levels. Next daily levels here on Apple, 272, 277. Google, all-time highs is in play here. So a lot of these names shaping up fairly nicely. Any major pullbacks that you do have, you want to be going long for continuation. As for Google coming into today, key levels, previous day highs along with our 330. If we do want to see upside above our previous day highs hold, we could even see a little bit of a bigger pullback on Google. 330 retest is in play for a pushback towards the upside here as well. So that's what we have for Google. Next levels that as I mentioned is that all-time highs key level. All right, Microsoft, this is the one. Nice bounce here off our 360. Really solid opportunity. Once it reclaimed back above your 385, once it even reclaimed back above this 370, nice continuation towards the upside. And now you can see Microsoft has the breaker structure that we kind of talked about. So this was our key level on Microsoft. Every single pop was being shorted. This right here, the reclaim back above this 380 was the flip on Microsoft, and now you can see momentum kicking in quite a bit, which is absolutely fantastic. So Microsoft now breaking above our 412. Now, as long as you can maintain above 412, we can see continuation up and towards the next key levels, which is 422. And then, of course, we have this big gap, which is that 440. So levels that we can have drawn out. Let's just mark this out, 422.71. Other levels that we can have marked out here now is going to be that 413. So if we go back onto the lower time frames, previous day highs we can have drawn out. We can just get rid of this. And of course, the next level here is going to be that 422. So Microsoft hold above that 414, continuation up and towards that 422. Meta, let's go into this one. Nice flip here as well, right in towards a key level. So for Meta, you like to see maintain above that 671, above our previous day highs for continuation. So key levels on Meta here, you can just kind of mark out this general area, pretty big level. Let me actually just refine this. We can mark out that previous day lows. Other levels, previous day highs now marked out. So for Meta, longs above our previous day highs are in play. Another possible scenario, bounce play all the way back in towards that 665 for continuation higher here as well. And then Amazon, nice flag pattern forming. So keep an eye on Amazon coming to market open, base above that 274 continuation up and towards that 255 for push towards the upside. Netflix does have earnings tonight, but you can see this one's shaping up fairly nicely. Nice kind of V-shape bounce, of course, and then you had that hold above our 92. And now you can see nice kind of move towards the upside here on Netflix. We'll see what shapes up with earnings tonight. But at least for the tech side, very similar to yesterday. A lot of things are shaping up nicely. Just looking for continuation here now. Not anything that's like sticking out crazy on the higher time frames because we've already had such big moves coming to this week already, right? Tesla finally broke up. Microsoft had a nice base. So now we're just looking for continuation on some of these names, right? Tesla above our previous day highs. That's going to be my main watch coming to market open. For a couple other names, you can keep it on Apple here, finally breaking out, potential day two continuation. Google above previous day highs that I do like, and even Amazon, this potential flag pattern that's forming here on the hourly that we can keep an eye out for. As for a couple other names, let's quickly go over this. Palantir, nice bounce off the lows here, breaking back above 138 was our key level on Palantir yesterday for continuation. Nice kind of push back towards the upside. Key levels that we are going to have marked out is going to be our 142. We can look for a potential previous day high retest for continuation towards the upside here as well. Other names that we do have, AVGO, all-time highs is in play. We also filled the gap here. So a lot of these names either had such a big push up already where you're going to be looking for any sort of major dip for continuation higher, right? AVGO would be nice if you can go fill that gap, bounce back up towards that 380 for an all-time highs push. Other names, MU, fairly close to our all-time highs. So MU hit our all-time highs in the overnight session. In this was on Tuesday. So we're having a little bit of a pullback here on MU. Key levels that are going to have marked out is going to be our previous day lows. So as you can see, a couple of reactions off this general area. MU, this one, now you just like to see kind of consolidation. If we're looking at this on the daily time frame, what I like to see a little bit more here on MU is some sort of cup and handle. So for this one, nice kind of V-shaped recovery. Now I like to see this cup and then this handle form higher low be built for this next leg towards the upside. So I do like MU. I like to see a little bit more consolidation here. But as long as you can maintain above 420, that's what we have here. As for a few other names, there's a lot of things to kind of go over, but SNDK now pulling back down in towards 860. This is going to be the key level for a potential mini bounce play. Memory had a little bit of a pullback the past couple of days. Intel still holding up fairly strong above our previous all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken, which is our 62.23. But as for Intel key levels that we are going to have marked out, previous day lows, along with our previous day highs. If you do want to see upside on Intel today, above our 6550 for continuation towards the upside. For a couple other names, TSM had earnings. That's why we had a little bit of a drop here on the SMH coming to market open. Hood, this one, nice kind of bounce play. Similar thing, right? Based off the market sentiment, based off of the bullish news catalyst here as well, right? Nice kind of break above, and now you can see momentum kind of kicking in here. So this one, nice push towards the upside. We have a couple of gaps that we're looking for on Hood. Now, as long as we can maintain above our previous day highs. So for any sort of name, just mark out that previous day highs, which is going to be key. So for something like Hood, mark out that previous day highs, which is going to be that 87. As long as you can maintain, we can see continuation higher. Other levels that we have marked out, really is just kind of that previous day high. SoFi, similar thing. This one bouncing nicely off the lows. Key levels, previous day highs, if you do want to see continuation towards the upside. So what we can have marked out is going to be our 1880s for continuation higher here as well. Other names, CRWV kind of consolidating here. You can see a lot of names are starting to bounce. Just with the overall markets hitting all-time highs, we're going to see a lot of these nice setups moving forward, at least for today. As I mentioned, we'll just keep an eye on Tesla continuation above our previous day highs. Other names that I do like, Apple, previous day high retest. I do like a bunch of these ones as well. Microsoft, previous day high retest. We do have Amazon, potentially hourly flag forming here as well. Other names, Oracle looks good. So Oracle above our previous day highs, moving nicely here in the pre-market. Oracle, we do have a nice bounce so far. You kind of have this W-shaped recovery. Now for Oracle, we're above key levels, which is this previous high. Now we just like to see Oracle maintain above 170 for continuation higher here. So Oracle, keep an eye on your 170 previous day high retest. You can see buyers stepping in here in the pre-market. Hold above that 172 for continuation higher here for Oracle. So there's a couple things. Just keep an eye on Tesla continuation today. And then there's a lot of these previous day high retests, even like Palantir, if you can get some sort of pullback. Oracle, Intel above our 6550. So a lot of these names shaping up fairly similar to yesterday, with a lot of these names looking nice. Just kind of focus in on 2 to 3 tickers, whatever is your favorite watch, right? Since there's almost every single name is shaping up here, right? Just keep an eye on right 2 to 3 main tickers. So kind of break down your watch list. I'm personally going to be focusing on continuation on Tesla. Day 2 continuation, if you get that pullback above our that pullback, as long as you can maintain above our previous day highs. Other ones that look good, right? Microsoft, similar thing. Amazon looks good above our 247, right? A lot of these names, as I mentioned, look fairly similar. So as I mentioned, just as long as the markets can maintain above key levels, we're just going to keep looking for continuation towards the upside. If the markets do want to potentially pull back today or have some sort of consolidation, we're going to keep that in mind, right? We already had 3 solid trending days in a row. So we're going to be a little bit more cautious right off the bat, but as long as we can hold key levels, as I mentioned, previous day highs, that's going to be key. So yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care everyone. Peace.